Do you have trouble falling asleep sometimes, or you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't get back to sleep? I created a special meditation to help you fall asleep. With soothing, relaxing music and binaural beats, this meditation takes you on a hypnotic journey to the astral plane to experience pure love. And I can tell you from personal experience, it works. Check it out at hightimelinebooks.com. And sweet dreams. Ow! And because it's in Cancer, its own sign, oh, do two of them today. Hi, everybody. Thomas Miller on a full moon Monday. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, when is it? Well, it's at 5:25 this afternoon Eastern. Where is it? Well, it's just darn near shy of, that's what we used to say in Oklahoma, darn near shy of 24 degrees. Cancer, and the sun is over yonder. We'd also say that in Oklahoma. Sun's over yonder in Capricorn at 24. But the thing about this full moon, and I've already experienced it, I'll tell you about it in a minute. The moon is, 3 degrees away from retrograde Mars, which are in a retrograde applying aspect to a conjunction. If that was a little bit too much astro speak, then basically just say that the Mars and the moon are moving toward each other. So one of the questions, obviously, that we're all thinking is, what kind of week are we going to have? Well, let's check in first with Kristin and find out what kind of lucky stars week we're going to have. Good morning, Kristin.
Hi, Thomas and Fun Astrology Podcast family. Happy Monday. Today is a lucky day. Tomorrow shifts energies, and by Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it doesn't look any better. Saturday and Sunday are both lucky days, so definitely be watching out for this weekend. If you want to find out why we picked the lucky days, join our Lucky Stars Club. Thomas and I can't wait to see you there. I hope you all have a lucky week.
You too, and I'll bet I know why we have the days that we do, and we'll unpack that as we go forward. Okay, we might go a little long, so I'm going to give you the ending now for those of you who need to just go. I'll send you on with this. What kind of week are we going to have? I think a mixed bag. Still a slight positive twist, but we are overshadowed by exactly what I just mentioned, retrograde Mars. So you'll see how all of this fits together as we unfold this week. I did a YouTube video. It was released Saturday evening, so if you'd like to see it unfold, well, go there. And we did talk about the LA fires. Not going to give too much to this. As I'm recording this, the fires are improving. The chart and the position of Mars and the sun in the chart have some challenges, so we'll just see how the week unfolds. Remember when we talked about the New Year's Eve chart or the New Year's chart, the January 1st chart? And you might say, well, what about time zones? Well, it really doesn't matter because the aspects and the alignments that were baked in as 2025 came in across the world, one thing that was clear was that we were going to be having this push-pull energy that is exactly what we're experiencing right now. So we'll leave the fires to the video if you'd like to take a look at that. There are 5 things for us to bake into our minds as we begin this week on Full Moon Monday. And these are not necessarily in any particular order of strength or significance. They all fit together. 1, the Sun and Mars are exactly opposite on Wednesday. This Mars has been a woolly booger. The Moon conjoins it this evening at 10:47 Eastern Time. So we have the ow at 5:25, and then as I said, Mars was moving, they were moving toward each other. Boom, 10:47. And to tell you how strong that energy is right there, the lady that I came out here to Southern California to take care of passed Saturday evening, 2 days ahead of the full moon. And as I look at her chart, even though I didn't know the birth time, we did the solar chart, and there is Mars retrograde moving backwards, applying to a conjunction with her natal Pluto. And then transiting Pluto in the sky was opposite her natal Pluto and was in her 8th house. And as Merriman pointed out on Saturday, that Mars is in perigee, which means that it's the closest to the Earth. That was yesterday. And then I added, and we'll talk about here in a second, Mars is also out of bounds. There was another interesting thing at her time of death Saturday evening was that the moon in Gemini was conjunct her Gemini sun. So I'll take a look at things later in a couple of days, but I know a lot of you are interested in these kinds of death significators in a chart, and she had about 4 or 5. But one, I mean, just right off the top, a lot of times this happens. Ask a farmer. This happens during a full moon. And this full moon is extra punched with that sun opposite Mars coming up on Wednesday. All right, I told you we'd go long today. That's why I was giving you the soup at the beginning as well as the end. All right, number 2. The sun enters Aquarius on Sunday. We'll talk about that this time next week, but also on Tuesday early, then the sun conjoins Pluto right next to that very sensitive 0 degrees Aquarius real estate. I think that added to Mary's situation as well. All right, another one. We mentioned this on Saturday briefly. The moon, Mercury, and Mars are all out of bounds. The moon clears by Wednesday. Mercury stays out of bounds until 2 p.m. next Monday, which is Inauguration Day. So as I mentioned in the video, the inauguration will occur with Mercury and Mars both out of bounds. And the other one I mentioned was that Mars was perigee, which means it's closest to the Earth in its 2-year orbit. So I would encourage you to keep your eye on Kristin's calendar. What we have with the moon are the best days, as she mentioned, today and then going into the weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, as far as the last lunar aspect before a void, of course. But if you just go to funastrology.com/moon, you can view or click and download. You don't need to leave an email or anything. We wanted to make it really easy for you to access this lunar calendar. And Kristin has made the positive days green and the challenging days red, and it's such a good visual. All right, in the context of as above, so below, let's take a look at this week. First of all, I like to look at the aspects, 17 I'm counting positive to 9 challenging. What are the aspects of the week? Well, today we have the sun trining Uranus. A little surprise built in, but it would be for the good, and that's already happened. That was an early one. That was at 3:13 this morning, even before this comes out. Then one of the big ones, Wednesday. This one is Wednesday evening. It's at 9:38 p.m. Eastern, of course. The sun will oppose Mars. That's a 26-degree opposition, Sun in Capricorn, Mars in Cancer. So if you have anything broadly around either side of 26 degrees, you might take extra note on this if that's in your natal chart. I would also include looking at your secondary progressed chart and your solar arc progressed chart. You could also look to that Mars position at 26. Gosh, we've got so much we need to talk about. I might be doing some videos this week to fill in the gaps of all of this, because you look at that Mars 26 degrees in Cancer. Do you have anything aspecting that point? Friday, the sun sextiles Neptune, so put your spiritual antennas on all week. We'll be applying toward that. Then the sun and the nodes of notice how much the sun is involved. The sun trines Uranus. The sun is opposite Mars. The sun is sextile Neptune. Then the sun is in a favorable trine/sextile with the nodes of the moon on Saturday. And another big aspect on Saturday is Venus conjoins Saturn Saturday evening at 8:26 Eastern. Whoosh, long list. We're not done, because Sunday the sun enters Aquarius, and then Tuesday it conjoins Pluto. This, to me, gets really interesting for conscious creators, because you have like this really in between. You could roll the dice. It could go either way. So why not create the positive for ourselves? And that's why I say I think we have a mixed bag with a slight tilt to the positive, but overshadowed by that retrograde Mars opposite the sun. When we talk about consciously creating or setting our intentions or creating, being responsible for and bringing about our own reality, co-creating with our highest source, I'll leave you with the one that touched my heart so much. One of our listeners and somebody who was at our get-together in Los Angeles 2 weeks ago, just 2 weeks ago, that there is a shrine to Paramahansa Yogananda in Pacific Palisades, California. This is an area that was founded by Paramahansa Yogananda. And do you know that that memorial survived being burned all around it? That's the kind of power we want to have, that we even leave power behind. And something like that can withstand the worst fire that this place has ever seen, and yet it's still standing. Let's live our lives that way. What do you say? I'll see you back on Wednesday. Liz Grace is in here tomorrow. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great Monday and a good week.